how to be more productive and get more done. You have probably known that person who seems to getting things done. Whether it is a friend or a colleague, this person's work is always done hurry. He or she somehow manages to finish hour-long tasks in just 20 minutes. And you may heard some people describing the person as a robot or a machine. Probably because no simple human can accomplish the kind of task that they accomplish as quickly as they do. And it is very tempting to look at highly productive people as machines or wizards. But by just studying how they work efficiently and overcome the kind of challenges that we all experience, it's possible to boost our own productivity as well. These are challenges like procrastinating on tasks, boring work that just needs to get done, responding to emails or other messages, or just working, staying motivated or energized through your entire workday, focusing and finishing most important tasks. And in this video, I'm going to give you 7 habits of highly productive people. Increase productivity and become highly efficient. Number 1. Focus on most important tasks first. The theory behind any most important tasks is that any given to-do list has some tasks that are more important than others. If you focus on checking the to-do list items, you end up with a mix of important and less important tasks completed. This practice can also expose you to the probability of procrastinating. Just remember that it's easy to spend the whole day checking off easy and less important tasks to do instead of buckling off the hand stuff. Instead, spend a few minutes at the beginning of the day to choose 1 to 3 most important tasks. The things that no matter what, you need to finish by the end of the day. And just with a renewed focus on what's important, it's easier to create a meaningful to-do list and make sure the most important things get done. 2. Cultivate deep work. Some tasks are just hard, and remember this, there is no substitute for deep work. Everybody has a few daily to-dos that could almost be knocked out while sleeping. These are tasks that you need podcast to get through. These are motivations, if anything. They are hard to get yourself to do them. This is because they are not especially interesting at all at all. At the same time, some tasks are just difficult. You can't multitask yourself on your way to finishing them. You just need to devote serious time and mental effort to knocking them out of the park. And these are the tasks that we call deep work. And I can give you a few tips on this, on focusing more on deep work tasks. The first tip, schedule your deep work. Plan work into your schedule at similar times every day. This is probably in the morning. And remember, on this, having regular time to deep work at the same time every day helps you to make it a habit. Tip number 2, get bored. And it sounds counterintuitive to call being bored a productive habit, but being comfortable with boredom is important. Remember, deep work isn't always enjoyable, and boredom are what cause us to seek distractions. On this, avoid using any kind of social media for enjoyment as much as you can, and get comfortable doing nothing. Tip number 3, be harder to contact. Find a way to minimize distractions such as checking messages on your email or notifications on your phone. Find the easiest way to minimize this. And the 4th tip is know your work habit. And the questions I'm gonna ask you in this is, do you work best in isolation with periodic breaks? Are you working around a hectic schedule? You need to overhaul your work schedule. Just set some time aside for deep work. Rule number 3 to stay productive. Use the 80-20 rule. also known as the Pareto principle. To maximize efficiency, highly productive people identify the most important 20% of their work. Then they look at ways to cut down the other 80% of their schedule to find more time for things that make the biggest impact. Rule number 4. Break tasks into smaller pieces. And in this rule, I'm gonna pop up a question. Why do you procrastinate? There are a variety of ways that make people to procrastinate. But one of the most important is that the tasks on their to-do list seem too difficult. If you have to-do list items that are large in scope and not very specific, tackling those tasks become challenging. You look at the item and think, I don't even know where to start. You can just start by breaking large to-dos into smaller to-dos. Set small goals for each task, and you begin to notice that tasks that seemed so difficult to do seem so easy. The fifth rule is take breaks. Just note this. Nobody, not even the highly productive people, can focus for straight 8 hours. It simply isn't impossible. No matter how efficient habits you build, you can't maintain distraction-free focus for that long. That's why taking breaks is so important. Even breaks that are just a few minutes long can help you recharge and come up with new ideas. And make sure that you take full responsibility when taking breaks. When you take breaks, it's important to make them structured and deliberate. It is very easy to just find distractions as taking a break. But if you don't have the break time scheduled, it's possible that you actually get distracted. Scheduling breaks can keep you fresh and productive throughout an entire day. Rule number 6. Make fewer decisions about things that are not important. And when I say this, I mean not so much important. And back then, while President Barack Obama was the president, he once told the Vanity Fair that he never makes a decision on what to wear. You see, I only wear gray or blue suits. I'm trying to pare down decisions. I don't want to make decisions about what I'm eating or wearing because I have so many other decisions to make. That's what President Barack Obama said. And this is to say some decisions are most important, others are not. If you want to be more productive, consider outsourcing or eliminating everyday decisions. The seventh rule is, and this might be funny, work before you get motivated or inspired. A lot of people looking to get more productive habits talk about needing to get inspired or motivated. Highly productive people simply focus on getting started, and this is when they are motivated or not. And to understand this, I will just give you a case of Anne Lamott. Anne Lamott gives this advice to aspiring writers. Look through a 1-inch picture frame. What does this mean? It just means that you don't have to tackle everything at once. When you are having trouble getting motivated, it's often because you are looking at the massive scope of a project. That's intimidating. It's hard to get started when faced with enormity of a task. Lamott tells writers not to worry about inspiration or motivation. Just start writing in the smallest possible way, even if you need it to start by just describing your shoes. Getting once, any once, is the first step. And this applies the same to your work, even if you are not a writer. If you find yourself overwhelmed or you find yourself procrastinating, look through a 1-inch picture frame. Start doing something like breaking the task into smaller chunks, and you'll find it easier to keep going. And remember this, taking action is what leads to motivation, which in turn leads to more action. Highly productive people simply do not wait for motivation. They start working and motivation follows after them. And remember this, most of the time, the most efficient people you meet have found ways to overcome procrastination and other challenges. And our productivity tips narrows down to these 4 points. Point number 1, manage your time well. Point number 2, make better to-do list. Point number 3, take care of yourself. And point number 4, be proactive. And simply, I'm going to remind you, become better.